Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Getting Speakers Booked, your podcast by speakers for speakers. Today, I'm really excited to have my guest Deana with us today. But before we go further, as always, if you are a new or a returning speaker listening to it, we have our free speaker community, the Speakers Supporting Speakers Facebook group. The link is in the description. So these are for your speakers who are looking to get out there, get more speaking engagements, put their message out, as well as new speakers, established speakers, re-established speakers, all of the great stuff. So today I'm super excited to spotlight someone as well from our community.
Yeah.
Deana, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Macy. Thank you for having me. And it has been a joy on Speaker Supporting Speakers and all the other different venues you and your family have. So, what a great connection. I highly recommend it for everyone that is in this industry or thinking about it. You know, we can give them some more ideas of what to do, how to do.
Thank you so much. Well, that is so kind, and I think a huge testament to it is that you just have such an incredible story. You have such an incredible, giving heart. I think, and there's so much vulnerability that you've shown already, which really helps deepen a connection and relationship when we're all willing to be honest, and we're saying like, hey, this is just who I am, and this is what I want to help with. You have a very incredible story, and honestly, a lot of what you do resonates with my circle when it comes to identity, when it comes to, different races and everything like that. So I'll let you kind of take it away. Why don't you explain a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, thank you. As you said, I'm Deana Elaine, and I'm an author. It's a trilogy. The first book is published. The second one is hot in the press right now. So it's Tragic Whispers, Secrets from the Heart of a Broken Palestinian-American Woman. And I titled it that way because I'm from a diverse background. My father's Palestinian, my mother, a very spirited, redheaded woman from Kentucky. So just those two different cultures alone brought a lot of dysfunction in our family growing up. It's also considered multiracial, just because of customs and things that you inherit to do, holidays, that type of thing. My mother eventually became a Christian, my father a Muslim. Although he wasn't practicing as most Muslims do today, he was in that world. He was very influential. He was with Anwar Sadat, Yasser Arafat. He spoke at the United Nations. So growing up, it's like we lived in his shadow for so many years. And I was sent overseas as a child in El Bir, Ramallah. It's about 8 miles north of Jerusalem. And they wanted me to be raised in the Arab culture 100%. And mainly later in years, I found out it was because I was very fair skinned and blue eyes, and my sister is dark skin, olive skin and dark hair. So she fit in the Arab world. I did not. So they were going to raise her here and me over there. Well, that went south. I felt a lot of rejection. I always felt I didn't fit in. At age 15, they arranged a marriage for me. And that was actually here stateside. So a lot of people don't believe or understand that that happens unless you're overseas. Well, believe me, it does happen here. It did happen to me the night before my 16th birthday. I actually took off. I couldn't handle it anymore. I wasn't going to handle it anymore. So for 3 years, I was on the run from my father, him hunting me down, looking for me, because it was a disgrace to the family that I did not stay in that marriage. Moving forward, at age 21, he passed away. So, however, still that he's gone, we're still living on what we consider a dead man's memory. Everything has to do with Fatia's daughters and, that type of thing. So that gets very challenging at times. That led me into searching for a father figure and also searching for the love of a mother who is supposed to keep you safe and protected. Well, I received none of those. So I ended up marrying several times. I have 5 beautiful children. But along this time, even though I was what I consider a functioning addict, I had 7 restaurants, 4 hair salons. I was very vivid in the community and outspoken. Nobody knew what was going on in my head. So I've decided to put my voice with my pen and start speaking up and out. And my talk title is actually called Break the Silence. So a lot of women, especially, they don't understand that they do have the power to break their silence and to speak up. And they need to figure out the noises in their head. They need to figure out what serves them, what no longer serves them. And a lot of times, Macy, we'll have a memory and we'll add to it mentally. You know, maybe it's not as dramatic as we thought it was. Maybe it's more dramatic than we thought, that it was. And Edward de Bono, he's a childhood therapist, studied childhood trauma forever. Um, Howard Ebbinghaus, he studied this forever, always, German scientist. So once they developed their decisions, actually, it blew my mind. So let's just start with what a memory is. A memory is something that happens that actually never unhappens.
Mm,
That's what a memory is. So it can be a good memory, it can be a not so good memory, but whatever that is, it stays in your head. It's something that you have not forgotten.
yeah.
And Dr. Ebbinghaus, he stated that over 70%, over 90%, 92% actually, that have these childhood trauma memories, they will dictate to you throughout your life.
Yep.
And 70% of those people will have addiction, which can come in the form of chaos. It can be OCD, it can be PTSD. Some people live on drama. There's overeating, porn, gambling. So people think of addiction, and it's not just a drug. The actual drug and the gateway is the trauma of it. You know, so I speak to them and I let them know that once you own your childhood memory, right there, you've broken your silence and you no longer give it power.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer going to serve you. It's no longer going to give you, it's not going to allow you to compromise anymore your lifestyle. It's not going to hold you back from being a better mom, a better coworker, a better entrepreneur. So once you go back to the furthest memory that you can remember, and if in fact it is a trauma, you're going to want to start thinking about the fear and the guilt and the shame. And while you're working towards your healing, you're always going to keep hearing the fear. You'll do it again. For example, I was an addict of cocaine for over 30 years. Yes. And not until I was in my early 50s did I start to even process what has been happening in my life. Even though I was, let's say, getting away with it, people didn't know. I knew that I was spiraling and I wasn't sure what to do. So, and again, the fear would set in, you're going to do it again, the guilt. You should have known better. You should have known better than to do this. You have children, you have a business. What's wrong with you? And then you have the shame, which tells you that you're just not enough, because you did have a hiccup during recovery. When in recovery, that's what we call when you backslide or have a little incident. We'll call them hiccups. And every time, or not every time, because I don't like to believe it happens all the time, but some of us do have hiccups because we've not totally treated the root cause, of all of this. So this is where I am now, and I just want people to know that they too will be heard if they break their silence and ask for help. My husband now I've been with for 18 years, and it wasn't until 5 years in the marriage that I actually told him I have a problem, and he was just dumbfounded. Macy, the look on his face, I'll never forget that look. And he said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, didn't you notice that I've been gone for over 10 hours today?" He said, "Well, you're always gone. You're doing this and you're in that and back and forth." I said, "Well, that's what I've told you." I said, "But that's not where I am. I'm out getting my drugs. Macy, I've even sat in church parking lots and consumed cocaine, telling him I was going to church. Now, I am a child of God. I accepted Christ early on in life. However, I thought this problem was too big for him to handle. So I got as close as I could to the church without actually walking in because the doors would probably shake, I thought, and people would stare at me. And, you just have this shame on you where people are just, it's like you feel they can see right through your soul. And that's not true. It's all in your mind, and it's up to you what you do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So since I started writing, did not intend to become an author. This was just me doing the 12-step program, the wellness. My husband had put me in recovery out in California. And as I started writing down memories or different thoughts, journaling, my kids said, "Mom, you need to write a book." They're like, "We had no idea. We knew towards the end you were acting really strange and different." However, they were not all in the house at this time. The empty nest syndrome had started. And honestly, I think that's what triggered me being able to hear the noises louder was
Yeah.
the empty nest syndrome. There were no dance recitals and swim classes and, excuse me, basketball games and all this that I had to be prepared for and take my kids to and all of this. So once I started doing the recovery, and my kids said, "Mom, write a book. People need to hear this, especially those, not that American people or, I hate to use the term of colors, but white people, let's just say, uh, you know, they have trauma also, but especially when you're mixing in multicultural and multiracial, which can be Hispanic and Oriental married together. African American and American, white American. It can be Southern, Northern. It's just the two different cultures that blend together. So I ended up writing the book, and it started off just to get it off my chest and to be my story. Well, next thing I knew, I was being contacted, and people are saying this is a subject, although a lot of people talk about childhood trauma and the effects of it and the causes and how you can fix it and heal. Nobody has intertwined multicultural, especially Palestine being, of course, greatly in the news today. Um, yeah, and I used to be almost embarrassed to say I was Palestinian because all of a sudden you're grouped in with Hamas and ISIS and just all these different Arab groups, which they're not all Arabs. Some are Iranian, some are Palestinian, some are Jordanian. So that's another misconception that people have that if you're from the Arab world, that you're all Arabs.
Yeah.
And it's just like the United States. You're a Californian, you're a Texan, you're a Floridian, that type of thing. uh, I just kept moving forward. And now the second book, as I said, it's I will disclose the name. You're the first one that's going to hear the name. Yes. This one is Tragic Whispers 2, and it is a Palestinian mother held by God, bound by addiction.
Wow.
This book will introduce my second, third, and fourth husband and four of my children. And then, of course, the last one will be more of the healing and the 18 years it took me to get to that point. So that's where I am right now.
Wow, that's amazing. There's so many amazing things that you brought up that I was thinking about while you were speaking. So one thing is Ebbinghaus. Fun fact: I used one of the Ebbinghaus curve in my TEDx talk.
You
So
do?
it was
Okay.
yes. So it's great. Yes, the forgetting curve that he brought up. And it's so true about memories. I mean, just for myself, I remember so vividly as a child, probably 3 or 4, in our home, my parents had a king size bed. And I swore this bed was like as big as like a palace. I thought this was the biggest bed in the entire world. I was like, my parents own the biggest bed in the entire world. And even to this day, knowing what I know now, that it was definitely not bigger than a king size, and I have a queen size in my room, whenever I think of that moment, I can't see anything other than like the world's largest bed. Like I have no idea how this bed actually looked, and it didn't matter because to me it was the biggest bed in the world, right?
Hmm.
So when you mentioned like a memory is something that you can't un unforget, I was like, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
that's so true. And as well, you talking about the childhood trauma, but bringing in the different culture aspect to it. That was the first thing I thought of when I first read about your story. I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a great topic. Given the fact that I am biracial, and
I think we
my dad's
froze.
from India and my mom's family's from China, and I'm very blessed to be in the world that I am, and but it's just a different way of moving in the world when you have two cultural identities as a child. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I couldn't wait to talk to you more. But thank you so much. Like, there's just so many amazing things that you shared. And those are some of the few that stood out to me. Deana, if someone is interested in learning more about your book or contacting you to come speak and talk on their stage, where's the best way that they can find you?
Thank you for that, Macy. It's very simple, DeanaElaine.com. And you'll find everything you need there, even the social media handles. But Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, it's all Deana Elaine author or author Deana Elaine. So there's just no misconception about that. It's just flat out, I'm putting my name out there. I think that's the best way because other books will come, but and you can look up Tragic Whispers if you Google Tragic Whispers. So
Perfect.
I do have a question for you if you have just a minute.
Yes.
So just to reiterate the Ebbinghaus theory and Edward Demoto about the memories and what they do. So your first memory sounds like a beautiful memory.
Thank you.
Beautiful bed, as big as the ocean. So how do you think that dictated to you throughout your life?
Like that specific memory?
Yes, since it was a good memory.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I think that for me growing up, my perception was that like my family had the best of the best. And I was just always in an environment where I was kind of maybe the best person. Almost. Not hopefully not in like it sounds as like self-conceited as it is, because I would love to remind people that I was 3 at the time, 3 or
Mm.
4.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think it was it was really great for me. I had a lot of feelings about being unique, especially when I described this bed to other people. They didn't believe that it was like the biggest bed in the world, but I believed it so much that it didn't matter to me. And that's probably, if I think about it, that's where a lot of it probably surrounded myself as that at that age.
That's wonderful, and you are blessed to have had such a great childhood memory.
Yes,
Totally,
thank you.
yes, and it shows now. Yeah, I'm not sure of your age, but you clearly are well put together, well
Thank
spoken
you.
young lady. So I thank you so much for having me on here, and I look forward to TED Talk in November.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Tina. This was I just what a treat to really learn and go deeper and deeper into your story. So if anyone's interested, I will have the link to Deana's website and everything that you need to know about finding about Deana in the description, show notes, however you find it. So you can copy, link, paste, whatever you need to do. Definitely reach out. This is a story so many people I think can benefit from. So again, Deana, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Macy. Have a great day,
Okay.
honey.
Thank you. And to everyone
Uh-huh.
watching, I really appreciate you as well. If you're interested in learning more about becoming a speaker, the first step would be to join our Speaker Supporting Speakers group, and the second step would be to join us for Friday networking every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.